Before we begin, this documentary is based on publicly available reporting, statements from Kelly Marie Lynch's family, guard statements, and reported medical opinions. Some important conclusions remain disputed. No person has been charged in connection with Kelly's death, and nothing in this video should be understood as an accusation against any individual. Just after 4 o'clock in the morning, a mother received a voicemail from her daughter. The message lasted only 23 seconds. There were no clear words, no explanation, no request for help. But when Julian Lynch listened to it, she believed something was terribly wrong. She could hear her 23-year-old daughter Kelly breathing. She believed Kelly sounded upset, frightened, and in distress. Julian sent her a message. What was that about? Kelly never answered. By the time her mother heard that voicemail, Kelly may already have been dead. More than a day later, Kelly's body was found in a shallow water beneath a bridge outside Monaghan town. Investigators initially believed she had drowned after accidentally entering the canal. But then came the injuries, the damaged clothing, the blood found on a shoe, the conflicting medical opinions, and the guard review that identified more than 20 errors in the original investigation. Today, the most basic question remains unanswered. What happened to Kelly Marie Lynch during the final hours of her life? Kelly Marie Lynch was 23 years old and came from Lesneski in County Monaghan. She was the eldest daughter in a large and close family. Her mother, Julian, has described Kelly as loving, funny, and deeply connected to the people around her. Kelly had experienced difficulties with her mental health during and after the pandemic. But according to her family, by early 2024, she was doing much better. She was making plans. She reportedly wanted to study child development and dreamed of working with young children. Her family says she was looking toward the future. There was no reason for them to believe that a short trip across the border would end in tragedy. In March 2024, Kerry traveled to Monaghan with her boyfriend. Her family said the purpose of the visit was to support him following a death in his family. On Friday, the 15th of March, Kelly left her family home. Her mother later recalled their final conversation. Julian told her to be careful and to keep in contact. Kelly told her mother that she loved her and would see her soon. It was an ordinary goodbye. There was no warning that it would be their last. That night, Kelly went out socializing in Monaghan with her boyfriend and the other people. The exact sequence of events after the group went out remains one of the most important parts of this case. Public reporting provides only a partial timeline. It is important to say that some details concerning the group's movements came from family accounts, media reports, and later social media statements. They have not all been established through a complete public inquest. During the early hours of Saturday, the 16th of March, Kelly was captured on CCTV. One reported image placed her outside the school at approximately 3 o'clock in the morning. At same stage after that, Kelly becomes separated from the people she had been with. A social media statement later published by the brother of Kelly's boyfriend claimed that Kelly and her boyfriend had experienced a minor disagreement concerning a message she had received. According to that account, Kelly walked ahead while others were speaking. That statement represents one person's account. It does not provide a complete, independently established timeline of Kelly's final movements. What is confirmed is that sometimes after 4 o'clock that morning, Kelly's phone contacted her mother. The result was the 23-second voicemail. No understandable words were recorded. Julian had said that when she later listened to it, she heard what she believed was panic, pain, and difficulty breathing. The message became the final known contact between Kelly and her mother. The voicemail raises several questions. Where exactly was Kelly when the call was made? Was she alone? Was she walking? Was she injured? Was the call intentional, or had the phone contacted her mother accidentally? Was anyone else close enough to be heard? The public does not have definitive answers. Julian did not immediately understand what the message meant. When she heard it the following morning, she texted Kelly and asked what had happened. There was no response. Julian repeatedly tried to contact her daughter through Saturday. As the hour passed, the family's concern increased. According to her mother, Kelly would not normally disappear for that length of time without contacting anyone. Meanwhile, Kelly's whereabouts remained unknown. The latest social media account claimed that her boyfriend returned home, made calls looking for Kelly, and then slept for much of Saturday. By Sunday morning, approximately 30 hours had passed since Kelly was last known to be active. Julian and her husband, Sean, began traveling to Monaghan to search for her. Before they could reach the town, they received the call every family fears. Kelly had been found dead. At approximately 8:30 on the morning of Sunday, the 17th of March, Kelly's body was discovered beneath Horseshoe Bridge, close to the Ulster Canal. Reports said that Kelly's boyfriend and his cousin found her. She was in shallow water below the bridge. It was St. Patrick's Day. For many people, Monaghan would have been preparing for a day of celebration. For the Lynch family, life had changed permanently. The location immediately created an apparent explanation. A young woman had disappeared during the night. Her body was found in water below a bridge. The initial theory was that Kelly had accidentally fallen and drowned. The death was not initially treated as suspicious. The area was therefore not handled in the same way that a suspect homicide scene would have been handled. That early decision would become central to almost every concern raised afterward. When investigators decide that a death is not suspicious, certain steps associated with the major criminal inquiry may not happen. A wider area may not be sealed off. Every possible entry and exit route may not be examined. Potential witnesses may not immediately be interviewed under the procedure used in a homicide investigation. Objects that appear unimportant may not be preserved. Digital devices may not be examined with the same urgency. And when the early classification is later questioned, time cannot be reversed. Kelly's body was recovered and examined. The initial post-mortem conclusion was drowning. Based on that conclusion and the circumstances of the discovery, investigators continue to treat the death as a tragic accident. But Kelly's family soon began to question that explanation. When Kelly's body was returned to them before her funeral, her family saw extensive bruising and injuries. They did not understand how those injuries could have resulted from a single accidental fall into shallow water. At that time, however, the family did not yet have the complete post-mortem documentation. They only known what they could see. Their concerns became stronger when Kelly's clothing was returned. 8 days after Kelly was found, the family went to a guard station. They were handed a box containing the clothes Kelly had been wearing. According to Julian, the clothing had not undergone the complete forensic examination that the family expected. The condition of the items disturbed them. Photographs published later showed heavily soiled jeans and visible damage to a jacket. The family questioned whether the tearing and dirt could be explained by a fall and exposure to the canal environment. They also noticed small reddish marks on Kelly's shoes. The family believed the marks could be blood. At that point, the clothing was no longer being preserved in police possession as possible evidence. This does not prove that the clothes contain evidence of a crime, but it creates a serious problem. Evidence is most valuable when it's collected, packaged, stored, and tested under controlled conditions. Once an item has been released, handled, and stored outside that control system, question can arise regarding contamination and the integrity of later testing. According to later reporting, blood was eventually confirmed on one of Kelly's shoes. However, there was not enough material available to obtain a DNA profile. That finding produced another unanswered question. Whose blood was it? It could have been Kelly's. It could have come from another source. Without a usable DNA result, that question remains unresolved. The family also raised concern about the recovery of CCTV footage. Julian said an investigator did not collect a sufficiently complete range of recording during the crucial early period. CCTV systems often overwrite their recording after a limited amount of time. When footage is not secured quickly, it can disappear permanently. The family also said that some witness statements were not taken until weeks after Kelly died. Memories change with time. Small details are forgotten. People discuss events with each other. Accounts can become less precise. The family believed those delays damaged the possibility of reconstructing Kelly's final hours accurately. They also questioned the handling of Kelly's phone. A mobile phone can contain location information, communications, photographs, searches, and application data. Such information could help establish where Kelly traveled, who contacted her, and what happened during the hours before her death. The publicly reported status of every examination carried out on Kelly's phone remains unclear. For months, the family continued requesting information. Then, in August 2024, they reportedly received the post-mortem report. It contained detail that transformed public understanding of the case. The examination had documented 93 separate injuries on Kelly's body. That number is shocking, but the number alone does not establish murder. Injuries can be produced in different ways: a fall from a height, contact with rough surfaces, recovery from water, and movement of a body can all create damage. Some marks can also be minor and counted separately. The correct question is not simply how many injuries existed. The important questions are where they were located, how severe they were, when they occurred, and whether they could be explained by the proposed accident. The reported injuries included extensive bruising. Julian said the report recorded no water in Kelly's airways. The absence of water in the airways does not by itself conclusively include drowning. Forensic conclusions cannot be reduced to one isolated observation. However, combined with the pattern of injuries, the family believed it justified a much deeper review. The medical conclusion then became more complicated. The original post-mortem concluded that Kelly died by drowning. A second review reportedly proposed hypothermia as the cause of death. Hypothermia occurs when the body loses heat faster than it can produce it, causing the core temperature to fall dangerously low. Someone exposed to cold water or cold outdoor conditions can die from hypothermia, even when drowning is not the direct cause. But the family still did not believe either conclusion explained the complete pattern of injuries. They sought outside help. The family contacted the Cathy Trust. The organization supports families whose loved ones have died in circumstances initially classified as accident, suicide, or non-suspicious death, but where significant questions remain. Trust was founded by retired senior PSNI investigator James Brannigan. Through the organization, Kelly's family arranged an independent forensic review. This was not a new physical post-mortem. The review, when pathologists examined the existing documentation, including post-mortem photographs, seen photographs, and previous medical reports. The independent review reached a dramatically different opinion. Pathologist Dr. Finton Graven concluded that Kelly was likely subjected to a violent physical assault. He said he was concerned by the number, location, and pattern of the injuries. He reportedly considered Kelly's death to be a homicide until evidence proved otherwise. James Brannigan also said that the independent review raised concern that some injuries would have occurred after Kelly had died. Among the injuries specifically discussed were damage to Kelly's head and the fracture involving the 10th thoracic vertebra. That conclusion has not been accepted by all medical authorities involved in the case. The state pathologist has disputed the independent homicide assessment. This disagreement is critical. One medical interpretation says drowning, another reportedly says hypothermia. The privately commissioned review says violent assault and probable homicide. 3 explanations, one body, one set of injuries, and no final public inquest determination resolving those differences. It is also important to understand what an independent medical opinion can and cannot establish. A pathologist can analyze whether injuries appear consistent with a fall, assault, drowning, or events after that, but a pathologist cannot identify an attack without other evidence. The independent report does not prove who was present. It does not establish motive. It does not name a suspect. It offers a medical interpretation that directly challenged the original conclusion. Kelly's family continued campaigning. They submitted complaint concerning the original investigation. They requested that the death to be treated as a criminal matter. They spoke publicly because they believed that without attention, the questions surrounding Kelly's death would remain unanswered. As pressure increased, a peer review of the original guard investigation was ordered. A peer review is not automatically a complete reinvestigation. It examines the work already performed. Reviewers assess whether police were followed, whether opportunities were missed, and whether further steps should be taken. The review lasted approximately 18 months. In June 2026, Kelly's family was informed of the finding. According to the family and subsequent reporting, the guard peer review team identified more than 20 errors relating to the original investigation. The complete list has not been released publicly. Therefore, it would be wrong to invent or assume every failure identified by the reviewers. However, the existence of more than 20 record errors confirmed that the family's concern could not simply be dismissed. The family described the review as an important step toward accountability. They praised the review team for approaching the investigation independently and identifying areas where standards had fallen short. Guard confirmed that observation from the review had been referred to the Office of the Police Ombudsman. They also said that investigators and the Monaghan Guard Station were working through the recommendation and preparing a file for the coroner. That means the case is not finished. An inquest will ultimately examine evidence concerning the circumstances and medical cause of Kelly's death. But an inquest is not a criminal trial. Its purpose is to establish facts surrounding a death. It does not determine criminal guilt. Until that process is complete, many of the most important questions remains open. The first is a timeline. Kelly was captured on CCTV at approximately 3 o'clock in the morning. Her mother received the voicemail shortly after 4. Reports suggest Kelly may have died during the following hours. Her body was not found until the next morning. What happened between the final CCTV image and the discovery beneath Horseshoe Bridge? The second question concerned the voicemail. Was Kelly attempting to contact her mother? Why were there no clear words? What caused the breathing and sounds that Julian interpreted as distress? Can technical examination establish where the call originated? The third question is how Kelly reached the canal. Did she walk there alone? Did she fall from Horseshoe Bridge? Did she enter the water and at another point? Could someone else have been with her? The fourth question concerned the injuries. Can all 93 documented injuries be explained by fall, the canal environment, and recovery of the body? Which injuries occurred before death? Which occurred after death? What causes the injury involving her chest, back, head, and neck? Why have qualified medical professionals reached such different conclusions? The fifth question concerned the clothes. Why were they returned after only 8 days? What examination was completed before their release? What caused the tearing and heavy shoe soling? Where did the blood on the shoe come from? Could more complete testing have produced an answer if the item had remained in controlled evidence storage? The sixth question concerned the scene. What was documented immediately after Kelly was found? Who entered the area? Were all possible routes to and from the bridge examined? Was anything moved or disturbed before investigators understood the full extent of Kelly's injuries? The seventh question concerns digital and video evidence. Was every available camera identified? Was all relevant footage obtained before it was overwritten? Was Kelly's phone fully examined? Could location information reconstruct her movements? And were all communication from that night preserved? None of these questions prove that Kelly was murdered, but none can be ignored simply because the original theory was an accident. There is also a human danger in cases like this. When an official conclusion is challenged, people online sometimes begin identifying individuals and declaring them guilty without evidence. That is not justice. No person has been charged in connection with Kelly's death. Public suspicion is not proof. A disagreement, unusual action, or a delayed statement does not establish criminal responsibility.